Good morning.
What's up? Hello, guys.
Hi YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
How you gonna say hi YouTube? You ain't even looking at YouTube. Look at the camera. Hi Patreon.
Ooh.
We need to say hi Patreon now.
Now?
Yeah.
You made one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be posting on Patreon exclusive content, but most importantly, like workshop guides, cool tutorials. We gotta figure out a price. How much you think our Patreon supporters should? Do you follow anybody's Patreon?
No. Do you?
Yeah, well, I follow this one girl's Patreon. It's $10 a month. I wonder how much the Know For Sure Patreon is a month. The Know For Sure podcast. I wonder how much their Patreon is a month. I guess we could look at it. Kind of compare and contrast.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to put free patterns, free business guides, anything like new that I learned or that like books that I read or tips that I found here. Want to definitely include that. Programs that I pay for that give me free documents and templates on how to do certain things. I would love to include that on the Patreon. Give them some free information that can help their businesses.
Sounds good.
Sounds good.
When I came home, my cat ruined tore everything up in the apartment. So I had to, before I left, I'm like, okay, I want to come home to a clean house.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was coming home to, it wasn't too bad. It took me like 20 minutes to clean up after his mess.
But what did he do?
I have to buy wooden blinds. I have plastic blinds.
Okay.
He tore the blinds apart.
Okay.
So I had to clean up that. And then he jumped up on top of the fridge and knocked over everything.
Oh, really?
So it's like cereal, bread on top of my fridge.
Okay.
Boxes of cereal, bread, onions, you know, the stuff that you leave out.
Right.
It's on top of my fridge. It was all over.
Oh, yeah. Oh, goodness. So you had to clean all that stuff up.
I had to clean all that up. And I didn't go to church, but I'm getting back into my mental.
Yeah.
How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. I chilled pretty much. Store Saturday, opened some new fabrics. Oh my goodness, I got these fabrics from Dubai. I have to show you.
Did you post them? Is the ones you posted?
Yeah. Did you see the video?
Mm-hmm.
Gorgeous materials.
Mm-hmm.
Got those in, excited about working on those gowns. And then Sunday, just pretty much chilled, hung out with some friends, had brunch with one of my friends from high school. So it was a pretty chill weekend.
Yes.
I like what you're wearing today.
I like what you're wearing. It's giving
what?
I was going for, my Kourtney Kardashian.
You were going for Kourtney? This is Kourtney. I can see it.
I can see it.
I can see it giving Kourtney. It's very chic vibes, not so obvious sexy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably giving Chloe, maybe.
Okay.
Or Kylie.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're more obvious sexy, with the cutouts and stuff.
I've been watching the Kardashians a lot.
A lot?
A lot.
Okay.
Do you watch? I started watching their episodes in the when they first came out, and it was decent to watch.
On E.
Yeah.
Okay.
You had to watch the Kardashians. You absolutely had to watch it. And then I feel like when we got out of cable and we started getting into YouTube, Netflix, the streaming platforms, it just died down, and I forgot all about watching the Kardashians. And lately, I've been back into watching the Kardashians, and I love it.
Do you like their Hulu show better than their E show?
What's the difference?
I was about to say, do you see a difference?
No.
I feel like the difference is more you see the behind the scenes, you see the camera crew walking through the living room.
Yeah.
in the Hulu series. Like in the E show, it was like you're watching this family or whatever. But on the Hulu show, I feel like you're watching a family that has a reality show.
Yeah.
Because you see the camera humor, you hear the producer asking them in the thing like, so how do you feel about your divorce? So we're like, you know. So I do like that.
Another thing, I feel like they are. I think it's a good thing and a bad thing, but they address the talk on social media a lot. Did they do that when they was on E? Like they'll like, okay, so we was in a blog today about this on Twitter. They said this.
Yeah, I don't know. They may have, because a lot of things have happened since they've had a show. They probably had addressed some stuff.
But I feel like they are really big on what is being said online on the new
show. But you know what I think is interesting? So on one of the last episodes, Kylie had mentioned how she feels about like what she feels the status of beauty is and like the representation they're having on fashion and beauty and body image. And I'm like, wow, okay.
I wanted to talk about that too.
Because I'm wondering, like, so are they aware that people really use them and their family as the beauty standard as far as like fashion, makeup, looks? Like, I mean, I guess it's good that they know they're aware, but you know how like some people will say to somebody like, "Oh, you're who we look up to for fashion," but you as yourself is like, "You don't really look up to me." But no, like they really believe it. Like, yes, we are the standard.
They are. You don't think so?
I mean, I'm very strong minded, so I don't think anybody is the standard except for me.
Right,
like,
not the standard. I don't
view the Kardashians as a standard of beauty for anybody except for the Kardashians.
Right. You know, they have a big influence in the beauty world, in the fashion world.
Yeah.
And
in the plastic surgery world, for sure. I think that a lot of people, since the Kardashians came out, go to their doctor and say they want this butt, this waist, this nose. And I think that's what really makes them beauty standard, is that people go to the doctor and say, I want to look like this. You don't think people do that? Use your words. It's a podcast. They can't see you.
The silence was my words.
No, because I'm going to edit the silence out.
No, the silence was my words. Don't edit that part out.
You don't feel like...
I feel like that, of course.
It's not even a feeling. That's what people do.
That's what people do.
They go to the doctor with these images.
There's plenty of girls that look like Kim K. Like,
yeah. And I think it's because they went to the doctor and they asked for that. And
I think influence has negative and positive.
You know what the positive thing about it though? I think with the Kardashians came the love of black hair for white women.
Okay.
I think before the Kardashians, everybody was so obsessed with being, as far as for white women. Again, this could or could not be true, but from the outsider looking in, as a black person looking at white people, I think that before the Kardashians, it was a standard to have the most blonde, luxurious, bright blonde hair. And after the Kardashians, a lot of people who had naturally dark hair, naturally dark features, started to love their dark features. So I think that's a positive.
Yeah.
What were you about to say?
Nothing. They have a good influence in the fashion and beauty world.
How do you feel about like their style? As far as like sisters in general, is there anyone whose style you like more than the others?
Of course we love Kim's.
Not
Kim's
we.
Style. Oh.
Not we.
I love Kim. I love all of their styles. Kourtney's new style, ever since her and Travis been together.
Yeah,
he definitely changed her style.
Kardashian goth.
I like it though.
You like it?
I like it.
That's interesting.
I like Kim's style. Kim gives like a sexy and classy together.
Interesting. Okay.
And seeing her in the what fashion show was it? She had on. It was a recent fashion show that she attended.
I must not have saw
she had on like a ball gown, and it was more so beauty. Like it didn't give sexy, and it was interesting to see Kim K.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think beauty and sexy is, like, completely different.
Yeah.
Like, you have girls, Instagram models, that give sexy. Like, they upload body pics.
Yeah.
And then you have Instagram models, like, that just do all face pics. And it's like, I don't know, beauty, sexy. It's a difference.
Yeah.
And she gave beauty.
Okay.
So it was like,
oh yeah, I'm gonna look into it. I don't know if any one of their styles. Yeah, I definitely liked Kourtney's style before Travis. I liked Kourtney's style pre Travis.
Really?
Yes.
I like Travis' style and his kids. I like his kids' style too.
I don't know his kids.
Like his whole family is like, I like that.
It's like goth or something. Rock goth.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've never looked at his family, but I liked Kourtney's style pre-Travis because it was very like preppy Kardashian. Like she was just as sexy as her sisters, but more preppy, mom, cute, classy. Not feeling goth Kourtney, but I can see why other people are. Kylie, I'm trying to think of her style. I mean, I know it's very like sexy tight.
Kris Jenner, even Kris Jenner style.
Matter of fact, maybe I like Kris Jenner style the best. Now that I think about it, you know what? I wasn't thinking about Kris. I love Kris Jenner's style. That is the person whose style I can rock with. What about Caitlyn? I don't follow her. I don't know what she wears. I don't follow her. But now that you say it, Kris might be my favorite. She might be my favorite as far as style.
I love Kim K with Kanye.
Her Kanye style interesting. I mean, yeah, if I could think that far back.
No? Really? Okay.
I mean, I think it was definitely. I think Kim's style during her Kanye marriage relationship was definitely better than pre-Kanye. But was or is she my favorite back then, even during her Kanye? I don't think so. For me, I'm just not into overly sexy look. And I think, and I don't even think it has to do with like her style. I think anything she wears is going to be sexy because of her hourglass figure. So it's not even like her fault.
But pre-Kanye was a pencil skirt on the top.
Exactly. That's why I said pre-Kanye I didn't like either.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't definitely. I said post-Kanye or during Kanye I think was better than her pre-Kanye. But after the Kanye relationship, I think it's better than what she was before Kanye. I don't know if it's better than what she was with Kanye, but it's definitely a progression.
Okay.
There is progress. Okay. But again, like, it's just her style in general is just not necessarily, like, my favorite. But, yeah, now that you mention it, I think it's Kris. I love a collar. Kris loves a collar. I love a blazer. I love a mini dress, like a business blazer mini dress vibe. I think Kris Jenner is the most chic of them all.
One thing that I like about them and watching the show is when somebody walks in, they always be like, "Wow, you look beautiful today. You look nice." I might be toxic.
There were the old episodes though in maybe on their E Network days where they be like, "Okay, that's what you wore. That's what you put on." That's so interesting. That's what you decided.
It seemed like it's a serious thing getting dressed.
Yeah.
In that family.
Yeah.
Like what you wear is.
Yeah, as soon as they show up, they're like, "Okay, I see what you're doing." Yeah. I don't even know what Kendall's style is. I feel like Kendall's personal style outside of modeling is probably like horseback riding style, because that's what she's into, which is probably really cute. I just haven't really like invested myself into like what her style is. But yeah,
on one of the episodes, Kim K talked about how when she first started out, nobody wanted to work with her, and now people would dream,
of course,
to work with. Everybody wants to work with Kim K.
Yeah,
that's why. Well, Kourtney and Kim, they had a little, not beef. Kim K and Kourtney had a little family feud.
Right.
Over Kim working with Dolce and Gabbana.
Okay.
For a collection.
Mm-hmm.
And after watching it, and I really thought about it, I feel like nobody was wrong. Okay. But I get why they were feuding.
Well, yeah, I'm about to say, like, why were they feuding?
So, Kourtney and Travis' wedding was a Dolce & Gabbana themed.
Mm-hmm.
And BNG. So, after working with, I think it was just too soon. After working with Kourtney for her wedding.
Right.
In the midst of that, D&G asked Kim to be the creative director for their new collection.
Right. For their fashion show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In Milan.
Okay.
In Milan, I believe.
Designed a collection? So basically, they said to me they loved all the white looks that they've been seeing. Like when I went to the Celine Dion concert like years ago, I had them make like this all crystal thing, and they're like, your looks that you've always picked are really cool. Would you ever creative direct our show in September and be like the designer?
And that's what I was talking about earlier when she was like, now people would like kill to work with Kim K. Like, and I feel like it was an opportunity for D&G. I feel like, of course, if you work with this sister, you already in, you already got your foot in the door, so of course you're going to ask the big one. Like, Kim, can you, we already worked with your sister, so we want to work with you too.
Right.
So, of course. And Kim was kind of sneaky about it. That's where she was wrong. And she said yes, of course. And she said she wanted it to be a year after Kourtney's wedding. But it was literally like 3 months. Like they forced it. And it was some looks from her wedding. And it was some looks from her wedding. And she kept telling them like, okay, I'll do it, but I just don't want any looks from Kourtney's wedding. But it wound up being like a lot of looks.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was a lot of looks from her wedding. I'll put like some videos together. That's what I wanted to do on TikTok so you could really see.
Yeah, I mean we could still
see. But it was some looks from her wedding, and the whole family knew. Chris, Kourtney. Chris was their manager, of course. So of course, Chris knew. The whole family knew, and nobody told Kourtney.
Okay. They knew that she was directing the fashion show. Okay.
And then the day of the fashion show is the day that Kourtney found out.
That's crazy.
Yes, and she found out through Instagram. Like through yes.
Yeah.
So they all flew out to Milan.
What?
Without Kourtney.
What? That's crazy.
Yes.
Oh wow.
So, well, actually, Kourtney and Kendall stayed back.
Okay.
So Kourtney is crying, and she was like, you know, like how, like, why didn't I know? And these are the looks from my wedding.
Right.
So,
it's not about business. It's just there's so much, and it takes precedence over hurting your sister. It's just legit copying my wedding. Like, everything that I did was like pulling like references of like 90s. Like, it's just like, it's stupid because it's the deeper thing that it's about. It's grabbing whatever's in the way. It's like such an abundance or like an excess. Like, it's never enough. It's never like just okay to like not do something or turn something down because it doesn't make sense. She wasn't happy at my wedding. Everyone else was like.
That being said, I do think that like as sisters, we also have to understand when someone has a job or when someone's getting paid a lot of money to do something, like we have to try and see like where this could work for both of us, I guess.
I think it's about communication. Mom never mentioned it to me.
That's not, that's not fair. I don't think it's fair how it was handled. If how it was handled is how you're telling me, I don't think that's fair.
Mom still never mentioned it, and Mom feels like she has, like, is entitled almost. I can't explain it. Like, she doesn't have to get my permission. And I'm like, no, of course, no one has to get my permission. But if you want to have a good relationship and make me not want to run, and if I did it to Kim, she would freak.
But Kim didn't know that they were going to show the looks from her wedding?
Kim knew. She had to be there and so pick the looks and, like, style the looks.
Okay.
For the fashion show.
Maybe I missed that episode. Okay. So there was an episode where they showed her at the fashion show?
Kim?
Yeah.
Yes.
I just saw the aftermath of the fashion show, I guess.
What, on YouTube?
No, on the Hulu show.
Oh.
Like, I didn't see the episode where Kim was actually directing a fashion show. So the camera crew was there?
No, yeah, they was in the room.
Yeah, I saw her in the front of the board. I didn't see her go to Milan and actually do the fashion show.
And her stylist left her passport. You didn't see that part? And the models was walking. And she was like, yeah, no, I don't like that one. We're going to switch this one.
Oh, maybe I fell asleep. Because you know how, like, it keep playing if you fall asleep.
The creative director, I mean, I came up with the looks that I wanted, recreating all of the looks from the 90s, everything down to the accessories, the shoes, to have these very, like, Kim-esque looks. We just get every single archive that you've ever thought was cool is now going to be back available.
That's really exciting.
Yeah. I am a little worried about Kourtney just because Dolce was really close to Kourt's wedding. I kind of wanted them to have their moment. I just wish there was, like, more time that could pass before I could really take this opportunity.
But, okay, so they did all that.
And Kourtney found out, and she just like, oh, wow, like, I'm not talking to Kim. And Kim was, like, literally surprised. Like, she's not talking to me. I see Kim side because was I not supposed to take this opportunity? But she was sneaky about it.
You were supposed to take it and say something.
Say something, right?
Yeah.
So Kourtney is crying to Kendall. And the funny part that got me was when it was after the show and they was cheers, and you know they cheers. Say a little speech.
Right.
It's them. And Chloe chimes in her cheers and says, calling Kourtney a hater.
But that's what I mean. How we were raised is that we just are happy for one another.
She got so mad. She said, you're trying to copy me, but she always tries to hate on the side. She's such a hater.
So I don't know where this is coming from, but it's okay. You let someone pout in the corner, you don't entertain it, and you move on. Because you don't get jealous of your family.
When it comes to Kim and Kourtney, no one's right and no one's wrong. It's gonna work itself out. I know my girls, and they have this deep love for one another, and they'll figure it out.
So then they didn't speak for probably like a week. And then they talked it out, and Kourtney expressed that she was like, I feel like you didn't tell me because you didn't want me to say no. She was like, I didn't really care.
Yeah.
She was like, of course I'm going to tell you to go take the opportunity.
Right.
You was wrong.
Right.
And Kim was, being a sage. Not... Kim was being her Sagittarius. And she didn't really,
Lord, give me strength.
care. Like, she wasn't really sorry.
Okay.
She just wanted to talk it out so that they didn't beef anymore.
Okay. Do you feel like anything could stop you from taking an opportunity to be a lead designer for a bigger brand? For example, all right, say it's me and you.
That's what I was thinking about. That's why this situation is so
interesting.
Because I'm like, what in that situation? What are you supposed to do?
What if I get married and I wear Louis Vuitton looks? Doubtful. But I get married, I wear Louis Vuitton looks. then Louis Vuitton comes to you and asks you to direct the fashion show for them, what would you do?
I feel like we got the podcast together. Like, I feel like we are a team, so we are.
But what if they be like, no, we want you?
No, look. I feel like we're coming together as one, right? So, okay, what I'm trying to say.
But that's probably how they feel as sisters.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like, of course, he already worked with Kourtney. Of course, they're gonna want to work with him, right? Mm-hmm. But if that happens, I will literally come to you and ask you, how would you feel about it? And however you express how you feel about it, I would or would not take the opportunity.
I feel like,
however, in the business world,
mm-hmm.
there's no loyalty in the business world.
I mean, I feel like it's weird that she didn't say anything.
Yeah,
taking the opportunity, cool, but why wouldn't you say anything?
And then Chris didn't say anything either. You know, Chris is the manager. Chris knew everything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's Chris's responsibility to say anything, but I think I thought it was weird. And then weird that they all flew across country to go to this fashion show and didn't even tell her that. Like, to me, it seems intentional. Mm-hmm. And that's the only problem that I would have. If you did that, it would seem intentional. If anybody does that, I think it would seem intentional. Like, what's the harm in just being like, hey? But I guess, yeah, Kourtney, she was saying, like, if Kourtney had said no, she would have felt obligated to not do it. Mm-hmm. And that's why she just avoided the whole situation.
She was like, I think you was scared of me saying no.
And then I think I saw an episode when they was making up where Kourtney was kind of like, it's just like, you're just money hungry. Like, you're just doing it. Like, you don't care about family. You don't care about what, you just wanted to check. Yeah. And that's really what it came down to. And that was kind of cold.
That's Sagittarius for you.
That was kind of cold. It could have been true, but still cold to say.
But I'm saying there's no loyalty in the business world. Like, they're family.
To family?
They're family.
Right.
Like, they got their family behind him. But I think Kim K is a fashion icon. So, that's her lane.
Right.
That's her true lane. Like, of course, you know, you're getting married, rich, you want a D&G themed wedding, and you can buy that. Mm-hmm. And that's what she did. But I don't know. Yeah. And then in one of the scenes, Kim was like, I got married in Italy.
Yeah, I saw
that. You seen that one?
She said she got married in Italy. She had the same wedding performer, singer, and all of this stuff. So, like, so who stole who?
You stole my idea. And then they brought up, like, old, like, Christmas stuff.
Yeah. Like, so basically you're trying to find a reason to be mad, but really there's still no reason.
But
for her to do what she did.
One time Kim was mad at Kourtney because she copied her. She felt as though she copied her Christmas ornament or something.
So really Kim was just trying to get back. This was her ultimate get back. Is that what that is?
Mm-hmm. How you feel about the situation?
Didn't affect not one of my bills. So.
Oh my god.
It didn't. None of my bills were affected by this situation. Yeah, I mean, I think that Kim was wrong for not saying anything. I think that's, like, suspicious. Kourtney could have been right, like, saying, like, you just did it because you wanted to check and you didn't want to not have to check. Remember when Kim had the opportunity to work with another sneaker brand and Kanye asked her not to, so she didn't. Mm-hmm. And then
it was a clothing brand.
Yeah, clothing brand. It was a competing brand competing against Adidas.
No, it was...
What?
Fashion Nova.
Was it?
Yeah, Fashion Nova copies. Fashion Nova literally copies all the Yeezy's clothes.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I thought it was a sneaker brand because they were talking about, like, you know, how he didn't want her to wear something.
You know, Fashion Nova targets every, like, big influencer.
They copy all her clothes.
They did.
But,
they did.
But, yeah, I wonder...
around that time when they had copied Kylie Jenner's 21st birthday party, and they had all pink. Mm-hmm. As soon as those pictures dropped, Fashion Nova was on top of it.
I remember that.
And I think
honestly, it was similar to this dress. It had a cutout right here, but it was pink and at the top.
What's the face loved it?
Dominique?
Yeah, one of your recurring customers. She used to always come like, hey.
Oh yeah, I made it for her.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. I remember that. But yeah, neither here nor there. But I did want to talk about Skims. Skims is. Have you said you do own Skims?
I own Skims. I like Skims.
I want to buy some Skims. I want to see what the fuss is. I believe it is probably a really great brand. I've heard all good things.
I think Kim K, she does this bad B-ish. And her making Skims is just catering to us on being a better bad B.
What do you mean bad B? I don't understand. Like pretty? Or rude?
No.
That's not like what it
Pretty.
bad B. Like,
Pretty.
Okay. Or like boss lady? Because bad B can be interpreted as so many things.
But bad B as in what we look like.
Okay.
And I think back to what we were saying earlier about them, like having an influence on the fashion world. I think that Skims was super smart. We all need our undergarment. Your undergarment is serious.
Yeah. More people should wear undergarments, seriously.
It plays a big part in how your outfit turns out. And it's a secret. Yeah. Honestly. It's a secret that nobody knew, and she hopped on top of it and catered to us.
Not even that she hopped on top of it, because I feel like Spanx was the only shapewear brand for a long time. Spanx had a good run. I mean, they're still a popular brand, but I think she created something that wasn't really popular at the time. I feel like Spanx had faded out, and she kind of brought it back in with her coming into like the Skims brand and making that a thing. So I thought that was like really smart of her, because it was a lane that nobody else was really doing, and she kind of came in as like the only other option, and she was the only option that had all of the skin tone versatility of like shades of brown, tan to brown.
Yeah, she caters to everyone.
But yeah, so her Skims wear brand recently got evaluated for $4 billion. I think maybe 4.2, but
how many years?
It's now worth $4 billion. I think Skims has only been out for a couple of years, like maybe 3 or 4. Her net worth, Kardashian has a net worth of $1.7 billion, up from $1.2 billion, thanks to Skims, in which she now has a 35% stake. In 2020, it says Kardashian sold 20% of her makeup and fragrance brand KKW to the beauty company Coda Inc. for $200 million. But yeah, the Skims brand is now worth $4 billion. I think that's crazy.
That's amazing.
It is. I wonder how
one thing about them Kardashians.
They billionaires. They making money.
They are, yes. I'm ready. You want to be my Kardashian sister?
We can be Kardashian sisters. We look enough alike. We can find like 2 or 3 more of us and act like we were sisters. Yes. I mean, almost all the people that work in my store, they mistake for my sister. Yes. Dabney, Nia, Naya, my actual sister, my older sister. Like, we can make a fake Kardashian. Yes. What would be our last name? So,
the
last name. It would have to be a black last name, because we're black. The Jenkins. We would need a mutual last name that we could all agree on.
It's not unique enough. Like the Kardashians, that's a unique name.
Okay, we're Black Americans that come from slavery. Our last names are all very similar. Thompson, Watson,
Brown,
Washington, Jones.
Yes.
But we need like the
Garrisons. That's my dad's last name.
Oh, really? Kim says it's profitable and expects to hit $750 million in sales this year, according to the Times, up from $500 million in 2010. It says she actually co-founded it in 2019. with partner Jen's Grade. I don't know if that's who serves as CEO, and Emigrate, who serves as Chief Product Officer. Emigrate is the one who was the first Black woman investor on Shark Tank. And she, I don't know what her other companies were before the Kardashian brands, but she is a co-founder in Skims, Good American, and Safely, which is Kris Jenner, Khloe Kardashian, and Kim Kardashian brands. So she definitely like got the right business partners. But do you see like the difference between how much she's making and how much the brand is worth? Like her saying that not her, but them saying that the Skims brand is set to hit 750 million in sales this year. 750 million versus 4 billion. So I kind of want to talk about a bit of how they get to that evaluation, because that's like however many times, 4 times, whatever, that product sells. So I did want to get into like, how do companies evaluate or know what they're worth compared to what they make? Do you know how they do that math?
No. I'm interested in learning.
You're interested? I mean, I feel like so. I mean, the numbers are different actually for every type of company. I wish I could Google this. I'm sure I can. Let me see. So, different companies have different worths depending on the type of industry you're in. So, for example, if you are in retail, your company might be worth 3 times its sales. But if you're in healthcare, your company is worth 17 times its sales. If your company is in, let's say, pets, it might be 5 times its sales. So it really depends on the type of business you're in too. I think healthcare might be the most, the biggest gap ratio between how much your sales are and how much you can make off of your evaluation and selling your company. I'm gonna see if I can look it up real quick though. What would that be called? Company type, evaluation numbers, valuation. Three main types of valuation methods are commonly used for establishing the economic value of businesses: market, cost, and income. Each method has its advantages and drawbacks. But what I was really trying to find was, I mean, I may have to do this later and just insert it. I read the book, Millionaire Fastlane. Really, really good book. I recommend it to everyone. And in there, it kind of broke down like how you would start a business and how you should think about the type of business that you start based on possibly how much you could sell it for. So it's kind of like starting with the end in mind. And I thought that was really smart. And just overall, the book is a really good book on like how to get into the millionaire fast lane. Like, let's do all the shortcuts, create all the shortcuts that we can to get there faster. Okay, so anyway, when you're ready, so determine your business's market value. So you're going to tally the value of the assets first. So you add up the value of everything the business owns, including equipment and inventory, and you subtract any debts or liabilities. So let's just say I have $100,000 worth of sewing machines and factory costs or whatever, but I took out a loan for $50,000, so I owe the bank that $50,000. That means I only have $50,000 worth of assets or whatever that amount would be, because my assets are 100, but I owe somebody 50K. So that kind of outweighs itself. Now, base it on the revenue. How much does the business generate in annual sales? So you're going to calculate and determine through a stockbroker, a business broker, or a business professional how much a typical business in your industry might be worth for a certain level of sales. For example, it might typically be worth about 2 times the sales. So for example, if my company is making $500K a year, then if it was worth 2 times the sales, then it would only be worth $100K. But again, like depending on your industry, your assets, your liabilities, that all those numbers kind of vary. Now again, Kim K's evaluation was like 4 times what her sales would be, meaning that they're valuing her company not just on like her sales and her assets, but also on her name, because they know it's going to be a successful company because of her presence, her internet presence. So a more relevant measure is probably a multiple of the company's earnings or price to earnings ratio. So you estimate the earnings of the company for the next few years. If a typical price to earnings ratio is 15 and the projected earnings are 200K a year, the business will be worth $3 million. So that's basically saying like you're gonna take how much you're making now plus the growth trajectory that you see yourself having or that you've already had. So if in the first year you made 100K, the second year you made 200, the third year you made 400, then they'll see the track of, okay, every year it's doubling. So we can see that 2 years from now it's going to go from 400 to 800 to 1.6 million, because we see that every year your business is doubling what it made the previous year. So you can also use that to evaluate your company at a higher percentage amount as well. And then you can discount the cash flow analysis. So that's basically the discounted cash flow analysis is a complex formula that looks at the business's annual cash flow and projects it into the future, kind of what I was talking about, and then discounts the value of future cash flow today using a net present value calculation. But you can also find like these calculators online. So I kind of did one before we started the episode, which basically there's a website, and if you have a fashion business, any type of business, you can go online and do these measurements. But these calculations, you can go to a website and go to Google and type in how much my company is worth or how to evaluate my company. Then there's several websites where you can put in, hey, I'm making 500K a year, I'm spending 200K a year, so the difference is 300K. How much is my company worth? And it'll send you back an email or just give you the amount at the bottom, like, okay, with this analysis, depending on like when you're planning on selling to. So if you type in, I want to sell in 2 years, I want to sell in 4 years, it'll say, okay, your company will be worth about 5 million. Your company will be worth about 3 million. So you can kind of find out in real time how much your company is worth if you know those numbers. Do you feel like you would want to sell your company one day?
No.
No?
Yes and no.
Why not?
Well, I probably would. So I was doing my research on the Gucci story. Well, Gucci in general. Gucci owns YSL, Balenciaga, Alexander McQueen.
Okay.
And they own, I never knew that.
I didn't know that either. I know the brands that Louis Vuitton MH owns, LVMH, but not Gucci.
Yeah, I didn't know Gucci. And basically, Gucci said that they bought like names that was dying down, and they bought names from new fashion designers that just needed a little bit of help. Okay. And I thought about myself. Okay. Like me getting in it and my business started to take off. If Gucci wanna buy my brand, of course I'll sell it because you're gonna help me.
Right. But it doesn't have to be Gucci. It could be
anywhere.
Barbie. It could be Mattel. It could be Disney. It could be just any bigger company. I would 100% sell.
I would. But at the same time, it's like,
but you can still keep some type of a stake in it, but you don't have to be the majority shareholder.
Gallery Dep.
What's that?
It's a clothing line. One day they sold it, but one day I think it was a fun thing. where they just made a clothing line and that clothing line took off.
Mm-hmm.
He sold it.
Yeah.
He just sold the business. And I'm like,
100%.
yeah.
I would definitely sell my business. It says even if Skims, I think Kim K, what did it say? Either 20% or 35%?
Mm-hmm.
I think 35% she owns of Skims. So she's not even majority stakeholder of that company. And she's winning.
Mm-hmm. But if you sell your business like later on, you don't get no more money off it, or you just get like a percentage of it if it keep growing.
Only if you still own a percentage. If you don't own any percentage, then you don't make a percentage.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just take the money that you sold it for.
Right.
I don't know if I want to do it.
If somebody be like, say your company starts to earn $1 million a year, and somebody offers you $4 million for the company, one time sell, they now own 100%.
I don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know.
I probably wouldn't do it for 100%, but if I can keep 20%, let's see. And it also depends on the number. I feel like I would want to get my company to like 300 million before I sell it, because I want that $1 billion check. Yeah. You know, but we never know.
Such a big vision for what I like, my designs, my brand. Like I don't think I would be done yet.
Mm-hmm. You know,
sell it,
right?
I would probably, I want to have other clothing lines. Right. I probably sell those.
Right. But I also feel like, they say it's better to work to own 10% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape. It's like, what are you really in this for? Like, would you rather the company be big and you just own 10% of it? Or would you rather the company be so small and you own 100% of it, but you also have 100% of the problems, 100% of the stress, 100% of the anxiety? Yeah. I don't want that.
You over it.
Y'all can have it. Y'all can have it, and I'll keep my little percentage and keep it pushing. Mm-hmm. I think that would be good. Yeah. Lessons of the day.
That communication is key.
For sure.
And loyalty. It's a business world, but is it loyalty in business? And I learned to build your brand up and
sell it. Build your brand up and sell it.
And I learned, let's be billionaires like the Kardashians.
Or like anybody. Like, there are other ones.
What would you do with $1 billion?
Take a nap. Lesson of the day for me, I think, is don't trust your sisters.
Whoa.
No, you know what? I think
that is crazy. Because it's the truth.
Yeah, but I think, for me, lesson of the day or takeaway is go into lanes that nobody's really paying attention to. Nobody was paying attention to shapewear when Kim K started that brand. And it was so much needed. Mm-hmm. So I think that is my lesson. Like, stop looking at what everybody else is doing. Mm-hmm. Look at what nobody is doing, or just only a few people are doing. And maybe there's a lane there where you can prosper off of that.
Mm-hmm. I learned that too with Carisha. Mm-hmm. She got a card game.
A what?
A card game. She sells a card game. Mm-hmm. And it is crazy. Really? And I said it, I'm like, it's so successful because nobody thought to make a card game. But her card game is really fun. Yeah. And I know now everybody gonna want to do a card game.
Yeah, probably.
But she made like a black people's card game. You know how we go to Target and we get these flimsy cards and we be like, nobody does this.
Right.
And she made it. And now she's doing parties.
Interesting. That's a good lane for her, especially with her podcast and everything.
Yeah, she's going around city to city and she's having a game night.
Okay.
But it's the card game.
Right.
I said, this is
brilliant. Well, Ellen DeGeneres did that back with the Heads Up. That's the Ellen DeGeneres game, and that kind of came from her doing games on her talk show. Okay. And I thought that was cool because before, and that might have been 10 years ago or 15, who knows, but I thought that was so cool that she came out with this new game and you put it on your phone. Like, you just download the app and then you have this game and you flip it and then the person is telling you what's on the phone.
Brilliant.
But yeah, so get into a lane that maybe nobody else is in. But yeah, so make sure you count your blessings.
Before you count your money.
Bye.
Toodles.